Hey, how's everybody doing today? This is Dr. Joe Martin with the Warrior Mindset Podcast. On this podcast, basically what we do on this whole show is we'd like to get guests on and kind of figure out what makes them tick. I've been intrigued my whole life. I've been always coined with the guy that talks way too much. So this type of podcast is always good for me. It's because I love talking to my guests. We have a good friend of mine. He's a patient. He's a chiropractic patient. We've been friends for a while now. Very intriguing guy, Mr. Cooper here. We're going to get some of his information on his history. I think he's got a colorful history, great background, and we're just going to kind of chop it up here and just kind of figure out what makes Mr. Cooper tick. So, hey, just a little handshake for you this morning, sir. Love to have you on the show. We've talked as Dr. Patient-wise and, some of the colorful history. And you've got a guy, you as a guy, I feel has a pretty good history. And we've talked about some things which kind of made my head kind of go. It's sometimes like the dog was like, wow, damn, this guy's lived a little bit of a life. And we love to learn, the walks of his life on how he's been, progressing in his life, the pitfalls, the accolades and things of that nature. But, as we get started, just kind of give the audience a little bit of your background, where you came from, and then we'll just kind of chop it up from there.
My background is I was born in Richmond, California.
Gotcha.
Raised in Long Beach, California. My mother left my dad left from up there when I was 3 years old. She didn't want to live up north. She wanted to follow the rest of her family. I mean, I told you her dad was in the Navy.
Oh, yeah.
So they were military bouncing around. So he was on the naval base in Long Beach. So they moved back to Long Beach with my grandmother. That matter.
And did you stay with your dad or your mom?
I stayed with my mom, but
your mom?
My dad was always there.
Mm-hmm.
Summers or whatever, I go spend it. But I never stayed in actual household, his house.
Yeah.
I always stayed with my grandmother and my uncle because when he got married again, the house was small. I guess they just wanted them to be them, and I didn't understand those politics in adult relationships. But later on, I did. And, me and my stepmother are fine, are cool now.
But back
they had their own issues, you know what I'm saying? And it wasn't me, you know what I'm saying, per se. I was still a kid, I messed up, but it wasn't me. It was.
Was it only one, just you with your mom and dad, or did you have a brother and sister?
Just me with my mom and dad, and they had no children.
Yeah,
so I don't know who wasn't ready or why that didn't take place, but
man, it happens.
I didn't fit into that dynamic. Their family structure at the time.
So you grew up and went to school in Long Beach?
Went to school in Long Beach. I did go to school like twice in half the sixth grade, half the fourth grade, half the sixth grade, and all the ninth and half the 10th grade, Panola.
Oh, up here in the Bay Area. Yeah.
The rest of that I was.
So there's a lot of up and down with school wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because before that I was to get kicked out of school.
Kicked out for what?
First it was just being, they call us the class clown, talking back to the teacher. Now I wanted to really be there, I guess.
Yeah.
There was no specific reason that I had, like I was an abused child or nothing.
Yeah.
So.
I was got that guy.
Yeah.
That's why I got a podcast now. I talk so damn much. I got in trouble in school too for talking too much.
I did, the craziest, stupid stuff. Like, and I just was being rebellious. Couldn't tell me not to eat Doritos in class, and now later I'm doing it. The last one to come in from kickball,
Yeah.
Tell me I got to use the restroom, never come back to class.
Yeah, that's now. So down in Long Beach, did you play ball as a kid?
Yeah, but most of my sports playing was in the Bay Area.
Mm-hmm.
Grew up playing baseball since I was like 7 years old.
Oh, nice.
I did play football in Long Beach, high school football for Wilson and Lakewood, but that was that.
Mm-hmm. Did you play baseball down south?
No,
not much. Yeah,
my Southern California family, they mostly praise like football. They wasn't into baseball. It was kind of strange to them, but.
Right.
My father in the baseball and football, he played high school football, but my uncles played football and baseball too, but he used baseball to teach life lessons in the strengths. So
I'm a baseball fan, man.
So first of all, I mean, it was like with economics, basically. For every pitch my cousin threw, started out with nickels, then dimes, then quarters.
Or strike.
For strikes. He took it, he gave and he took it. I was a catcher. I caught it or missed it, he gave and took it.
That's a really good idea.
With me, my cousin Tim, JoJo, and Jamila. So Jamila played softball. Then there was, so he had this book before we even knew what situational plays was. We used to, I don't know where he got this book from, but it had to do with somebody that's part of the Oakland A's Foundation, where, if the ball is hit here, where the ball goes, what player backs up what player, like.
Yeah, it's almost like science aspect of it. Well, there was that movie, I think it was Brad Pitt, Moneyball. And they're talking about all the science behind it, how to make the plays, and how the contracts are, where the money is. It might have been something like that.
Yeah, something similar, from the way you hold the threads on the baseball to the rotation of it's going to spin to basically like where every player got to be in whatever situation, wherever the ball is hit.
So he kind of really taught you the meat and potatoes.
Yeah. We had to sit there and study that. He would ask, and if we got it wrong, sometimes we had to do standards like I will remember, you know what I'm saying? And then there, he
starts getting into you got to do push-ups, got to do some burpees.
And we had to do push-ups. We had to run around the blocks a lot. I don't know, the nights and days back then in the 80s seemed like the days lasted longer.
Yeah, yeah.
and
especially during the spring. Yeah, it's funny you bring that up because you say outside all day. These young guys nowadays, man, they're never outside. What are they doing?
Twitter fingers.
or video games, right? They're playing the Call of Duty or Fortnite or whatever. And when you say the long days, I remember I grew up back in New York, and I remember get up in the morning and it was say the summertime. My mom would be like, get out of the house, don't come back till dinner. But then you wouldn't worry about the kids nowadays. I don't know if I'd want to do that nowadays with some crazy people in this world.
They played Call of Duty. I mean, we was playing Call of Duty. We had guns that was made with the clothespins and rubber bands.
Then we were playing it outside.
We were playing outside.
We had real. Oh yeah, those
real
were Sting
BB guns.
Too, right?
We used to be playing with.
Mm-hmm. I caught him a couple BBs in the back of the leg sometimes.
The real airsoft ones.
Yes,
the plastic hard ones. Now they got the soft ones. They had the plastic ones that was real hard plastic. It wasn't rubber.
We were dumb. It's like that expression. You're gonna put an eye out. Well, you probably could have back then. We were just like, oh man, some of the stupid stuff we would do as kids. Now kids don't even get involved in a lot of that type of stuff anymore. It's just I call it good old fun. You know what I mean? Because it kind of is. Because you're out there with your buddies, your little BB guns or whatever, or the rubber bands with the paper clips. Man, that just brings back memories. And sometimes you do that in class.
I do know it's like even with then. We were taught, and this is how I grew up, and this is how I even treat my brothers right now, even though they didn't grow up like that. Like we were together, and one did something, we all did it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Good or bad.
Yeah.
Like
the Musketeers.
Like you knew about it, then you was part of the. You was part of the BS my grandma would say too. Yeah. So we all got a weapon.
Yep. They didn't care who was involved more than the other. You're an accessory, so you're getting it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, nowadays, that type of stuff, is kind of frowned upon. I mean, I remember I used to a couple different podcasts I've talked about it. My dad I use the term reboot me. I'd be goofing around in a grocery store or whatever. And that little knot in the back of your head, he used to kind of, just kind of lift me up. It's like right in the back of the head, and you kind of make you give one of these, and because it comes out of nowhere, because I'm goofing around, in the grocery store, and he hits you right in the back of the head, kind of reboot you.
Right.
Like a computer. You know what I mean? And nowadays, God forbid if you, discipline your kids sometimes.
Can't even touch a kid.
No.
But, I used to get mad. So my mom became a foster mother to a young lady who ran with us, who needed, who was a runaway, from her family. My mom took her in, but my mom became her foster mother. And my mom didn't discipline her kids the way she used to discipline us. And in turn, my baby brother was the same age as her kids, and she didn't discipline him. And now he turns out a different whole beast of program.
Right.
His mindset is different. Mm-hmm. Then all those certain things. It kind of bugs me, but
yeah,
I deal with it. I know where it comes from, but
that's a lot of times that's just with our society, because we have a lot of broken homes, and then we have a lot of melded melting pot type of families, and I could totally see that, because it's that you get that. So here's the difference. I try to explain to people: men don't physically have the baby, right? Women do, and there's something physiologically, mentally, whatever, that they had the baby and they know that's their baby. If a mom then has a foster child, has an adopted child, has a blended family, the men, this is just my personal opinion, we didn't have them. So if anybody comes into their house, I'm bringing you in. I'm loving you just as much as my kid, somebody else's kid, or whatever kid, because we don't physically have them. Because the example I use, and it could be a research study, but if back in the day when the mom has the baby, the dad's not in the picture, and the dad just gets to see it in a row of babies, right? And if they just said, "Hey there, Mr. Cooper, we'd like to introduce you to your baby. It's right there in that little bassinet right there." You wouldn't know if it's your kid or not, right? Because we didn't physically have it. I'll guarantee you, the mom could have a whole row of babies in a bassinet, and they would pick their baby. Right. So with that being said, I think from a philosophy or psychology or how human nature is, men sometimes, as long as you're in my house, I'm going to protect you. You know what I mean? So whether you're my kid or not my kid, if you're my adopted kid, my foster kid, whatever, you're my kid. Or sometimes the moms don't think that, and they treat the kids a little different if it isn't their kid.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And in that aspect, I think you're right.
And maybe that was what happened with the foster, like that would be your foster sister.
Yeah. Well, she was more afraid of. She called it the system. She didn't want to go to jail behind putting her hand, on one of them. Mm-hmm. Or you beating. It's like they want to come get you, arrest you. The police will arrest you if your child does something and you're the parent, and the child's a juvenile. They fine or they come get the parent. They take the parent to jail with that. But if you choose to discipline the child, if you don't spoil the rot, then they got child protection. So it's like
you can't win.
Can't win.
The parent, it is definitely tough. But after you finished up, because what's kind of crazy with you is how two different dynamics of you're up in Pinole, in the Bay Area, California, and then you're down in the LA area. And sometimes those 4 years of high school seems like you're doing half a year down south or half a year. And how was that? Because that from a getting in a groove. Did you really ever get in a groove in high school?
No, I didn't. The bigger portion of that, because I would get in trouble. And my mom, we all got different. I got 5 brothers, and we all got different dads.
Yeah.
I was rebellious. I'd be like, I'm gonna go stay with my dad.
Were you the oldest at the time?
I was the oldest. I am the oldest.
You're the oldest. Okay, gotcha.
And she'd be like, okay. You know what I'm saying? I ain't keeping you here.
Yeah.
And then my grandma would say, if you want to come up here, just send him up here. We always got room for him, so I would go. My mom would miss me. And that was your
dad's mom?
That's my dad's mom.
Gotcha.
My mom would miss me. When you coming back home? You know what I'm saying? Blah, blah,
then you go back home. Yeah.
But the turn of everything, I was with a very good friend of mine. We still good friends to this day. My friend Charles. And I took my mom's, stole my mom's car. She had a little Chevelle.
How old were you?
A hatchback. I was probably 12 or 13. I was 13. And
see, now, folks, now the story's starting to brew. We get a little bit of family history now. Now Mr. Cooper is going to give us a little bit of his lifestyle. So, that's funny. So at 12 years old, you took the car. That's awesome.
So I took the car.
With your cousin?
No.
Your buddy?
My buddy.
Yeah.
And we had to, it was one of the lady friends we used to hang out with, and her 2 cousins. And
bro, when you're like 12 years old.
I was 13.
And these are all 13-year-old girls, 14-year-old girls, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
I was trying to show out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to show out. Oh, don't worry about it. I can drive you back to the west side. Wait till my mom went to sleep.
Dude, in L.A.?
Huh?
In L.A.?
Yeah, Long Beach.
At 13 years old. Oh, my God, so that's awesome.
I took the keys while she was asleep. And,
this at nighttime, too?
This at nighttime. And,
on the fucking freeway?
No, we just drove the freeway.
Oh, okay, good. Go ahead.
And I know how to drive.
Yeah.
My dad taught me how to drive. So I go get him. And we had this boom box. Old school boom box. The speakers come off the side, detached speakers. And we listen to some rap music, Slick Rick song called Children's Story. And we're like, boom, 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 boom. And I'm thinking I'm cool. I start swerving from side to side. Uncle Ricky, you remember that Children's Story? Would you read us a bedtime story? Okay, so I'm swerving side to side, and the car just got out of control. It's like, word. And it's a little Chevelle.
Yeah.
So the movements is so
quick.
And all I could think about, we're finna hit a car and explode like the movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then I was finna hit a car and I come back this way real quick. And the car jumped the curb and I hit a tree that was thick as this table. And it was like the cartoons or in the movie how the whole front just looked like a U shape. The car just bam. Yeah. And why is the driver the only one that don't get hurt? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
everybody's jacked up.
Jacked up, man. And they did. I was getting everybody out the car. Come on, we gotta go. We gotta run. And so I got caught this way. So we was only a block away from.
See, it's always that way, isn't it? It's a block away, and people get in the damn accident.
I was almost home. I'm almost there to drop them off.
Missed it by that much.
And so their head was all cut up from class, and one of the girls' neck was bothering her. Yeah. So they did call the ambulance down there, but the mom and all them was like, yeah, the driver had rent. And at the time, the police was like, we don't, nobody died. We don't really care. Somebody gonna report the car stolen. We ain't finna go over and investigate. So they called my mom in the morning. Hey, we got your car down here. It was you, maybe your son or somebody had the keys to your car. They took it and had an accident on the west side. They didn't hit nobody. Just hit a tree.
They're not going to do anything.
She go and investigates. My homeboy's boom box is in the back. And one of the girls' makeup person's in the back. She's like, you have my car. So, and my mom was pissed. Like, my mom was like, to us, but not to my baby brother and other kids. But with us, she was super stern. She got the wooden stick from the plunger. Remember, plungers had wooden sticks back then. She got to trying to bang. So,
and then the car's totaled.
Then the car's already totaled.
Yeah.
My mom I told my mom, you ain't finna do nothing to me. I'm gonna tell my teacher, right? And she like,
your mom back then. I don't care.
Yeah. She like,
go ahead.
I'm gonna beat your behind, right? And so somehow, I don't know which way it went, but somehow the authorities ended up in the picture, and like I had to go to court on it. Like, you took
like
your mom.
Oh yeah.
Like, we're gonna send you to your father's house. That's how in 1989. That's how I went to go actually live with my father, and went to school for that year and a half in high school. Played football and baseball, and then once I came back, I was like 14.
Yeah,
I was like 15. So I came back when I was 15, 13, 14. Yeah, I came back, turned 15 in like 91.
Yeah,
and then it was a rap. Like, I was my extension into, off the east side of Long Beach. So it's either you're gonna be from insane or 20s, and I got family from both. Like, I pretty much everybody knew everybody when you going to school, but everybody chooses a side at some point.
Oh yeah.
And so I chose to hang with this group, and most of my homeboys is from there. And
get into a little bit of trouble.
Yep. And it went to that.
Like, what was most of the stuff is like, because you're only 15 at the time, 15, 16. I mean, what's the kind of crazy, like, what were you guys What type of trouble are you guys getting into?
The group that I was with, I mean, I can honestly say, we went. I ain't gonna say we went like we used to have this thing like who downer than who, like who's the downest, right? So we did crazy stuff, but we didn't do like hella violent stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause while everyone mostly concentrated on each other within Long Beach, we used to go out and mess with different areas.
Yeah.
And it was all because we was chasing some female.
Usually is, right?
And so we would be in different dudes' neighborhoods and kind of got known. And we had fights and stuff over there, but it wasn't like, they thought we earned our stripes to go over there and mess with this female because we got out, we stayed down for our crown. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't remember at that age, like, there wasn't no shootouts or nothing.
Yeah.
I just started shooting like till when I came off from youth authority, I was like 19. So then doing stuff. But then it was short lived because I ended up going to prison after that.
What was it like? So the stuff like you're messing around like different areas of town and things like that and just causing some ruckus, but nothing crazy. What was it?
Robberies.
Yeah.
Burglaries and car thefts.
Yeah. And that was like 15, like when did you first, the authorities kind of go, you're coming with us?
Oh, they've been talking about we coming with you since.
When was the first time that you got like, arrested for, doing silly stuff?
The very first time I got arrested for doing silly stuff was probably like 5.
Oh, when you were younger.
I ran away from home, and the reason why I got arrested because I ran away. I forgot when my mama did something. No, excuse me. Mama did something I didn't like, so I called myself running away.
Yeah.
And so what she did was basically okay for me to. I think it was like okay for me to, instead of me being kicked out of school. Like, okay, well, he can go. He can get bus shipped to Lafayette. I was going to burn that, and I didn't like it, so I called myself running away from home. Remember, I took some potatoes and I covered it before. I'm going to bake these on an open grill like a bum. I took some oatmeal and some rice.
A stick with your,
I put it all in my backpack. So I ran away from home.
Because then you were what, 16?
No, I wasn't even 16. 85. I was like 10 probably.
Oh my gosh, you're too funny.
And,
that's awesome.
But that was my first encounter with the police, only because when I ran away from home,
they were looking for you.
They were looking, but before that, my mom. Okay, I ran away from home. I went to my grandma's house. Well, I made it over to my grandma's house. I walked hella far to get over there. So 2 days later, I guess my grandma had told her I was over there, but 2 days later, you got to go home. Your mom wants you to come home. I come home. It's like, you think you're just gonna run away from my? And so she sat on me I'm on my stomach. She sat on my back, and she was beating me with the extension cord, whooping me. My mom was unforgiving back then. She was ruthless. So somehow I got out of it, and I'm holding the extension cord, and she take a knife and cut it. So she got one end, and I got the other end. So when she go to swing that, it's like switches. It's smaller, faster.
Yeah.
So I broke wide, right? But I'm naked though. I'm naked running down the street, and my mama chasing me. My mama friend, Big Lionel, they got in the car, was chasing me. So I got like a block and a half. I turn up in some lady yard, and I go in the back, in the back, and I'm in the laundromat little room, and I'm hiding behind it. It's on the side of the dryer. And, back then they used to have like saws and tools.
Oh yeah.
So it's a saw, I guess. So I had the saw in my hand. I'm like, I'm gonna pop out someone's. I guess they asked the lady permission. Can they look for me in there?
Yeah.
So when she opened the door, I didn't know who it was. I jumped out. I said, "Ha!" And when I was coming back down with the saw, it nicked her, and she had to be seen. And that pissed my mom even off more when the police came to took me to juvenile.
What was it, like 24, 48 hours?
It was like the next day my mom came and got me.
Yeah.
And she was super pissed then.
Yeah.
I went to go stay with my auntie Glennis after that for about 2 weeks until she said, "Come on."
Or settle down a little bit, yeah. But like when you were more of a teenager, 15, 16, 17, like did you get involved with the police then too?
Yeah, it was already, it was like Catch Me If You Can then, because by then, my best friend, my road dog I was telling you about, that I still keep in contact with, he went to jail first for stealing cars. So when he came home, it was like, man, you got to show us how to get these G-Rods. We call them steal cars. Like, you was cool if you had a car.
Yeah.
So it was me, him, Lil Bullet, and Kip.
And was he still juvenile at the time?
Yeah, we were all juvenile.
Yeah, still juvenile. So you're not going to be in there for a while.
No.
So when was the first time, did you get caught with the vehicle too?
Yeah, I did.
You did?
I did. Actually, the first time I went to jail, I didn't even get caught with the vehicle. It was a young lady that used to run with us.
You guys, yeah.
Nicole was like, let me drive. We was like, no, you can't drive. I want to drive. And he's like, well, here, you want to drive? You can take the keys yourself. We used to park the stolen cars like up the street or around the corner, because Charles' mom knew we were stealing cars, and she used to somehow see us.
You think the extension cord was bad back then?
No, Charles' mom she had hands. She used to, and she was like the type of mom like how my mom was like she would cuss us all out. Like we was all getting the same ass whipping that he got or getting cussed out. And then she would tell my mom that, I seen Jerome over here or blah, blah, blah. But Miss Payne was cool. Like she was cool. And the police came up so I had my backpack with my school books in the car. And
in the stolen car?
Nicole and some other male friends of hers drove the car through a department store window in Lakewood.
Oh my God.
And
that was the girl that's trying to drive? Yeah. Okay. And we knew that wasn't going to go well.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't in the car with her. So,
but your backpack was
my backpack was.
So you were kind of associated with that. So they took you in too?
No, they came to the school and got.
Yeah.
I do that little. That was on probation. I got let out after that, but eventually I got a. Damn, how did I? Eventually, I ended up getting. And it was a wild night, man. That's a whole.
Listen on that one.
Because we were young and stupid. And
you know what's so funny about this, which is great, what I love about doing this podcast is I think when people listen to these things, they go, man, this guy had a crazy life. You know what I mean? But look at, because then we're going to go into how successful you are, he's, squared away. But what in my opinion, a lot of these type of podcasts are, I want people to see that, not everything is all, roses and things like that. You got a wife, you got a great job now, this and that. But before there was a little bit of turbulence, there was a little bit of, hit quicksand for a little bit. Somebody had to throw you that rope to get you out of the quicksand. But, and that's what's cool about interviewing people when they tell the stories and we can all go as an audience or myself as doing the interview like, damn, bro, you went through some shit, So the first time that you got taken in for, say, for example, 17, 18-year-old, what was that for? Steal the car type stuff?
Yeah, it was for stealing cars.
Because with the juvenile part, it seemed like you're kind of in and out. It wasn't that, I'm not going to say that wasn't that big a deal, but you were handling that. But when you went in the first time as an adult, what was that?
Oh, when I went in.
Like 17, 18?
It was 19 I've been out. So what happened was I did my YA time, right? From 16. I was already 16, but I ended up doing 2 years and 10 months or something like that.
In juvenile.
In youth authority.
Youth authority, yeah.
So
came home. A lot of work study too? A lot of work. Or is it just
juvenile prison? But you go to school in there, but it's still.
Yeah. So you're still getting some education and things like that,
education.
Which is good, yeah. So you did 2 years.
2 years and 10 months. I started out with 10 months, and I'm doing 2 years and 10 months.
Because of?
Because that's when I was gangbanging, fighting, being in riots.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll be 5 or 6 months in the house. What you learned since you been here? I ain't learned shit. We been on lockdown. well, you got 90 more days.
Damn it.
You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't, wouldn't let you go. But
so
they
you got out right at 18?
19.
19. Oh, yeah, because they can keep you up until 19.
No, they keep you up to 21.
21.
Yeah. It used to be 25 or something like that.
Yeah.
But now it's 21.
Right.
And,
So then you got out of there.
Yeah.
Then how long?
I stayed out 2 months before I went to prison. Yep. Because,
what was it that caused you to go back in?
Man. So on some trying to, basically, I came home, and my auntie, sister, Rose, I don't call it, Rose ain't never grew up as my auntie, but.
Yeah. They just call it. Yeah.
Rose hooked me up with her friend, Sheila. And she was cool, but at that age, you know what I'm saying, I didn't have like a job or none of that other stuff.
Right. Well, yeah, you just got out.
She was like 28. I was like 19.
Uh-huh.
I lied and told her I was like 21 or something like that. And, I was a little big for my age and shit, but I have no place to take her. You know what I'm saying? We
trying to
chill with her.
date, right.
And, she's staying with her father and, to take care of her father. So basically, I had the feeling like less than a man, so to speak. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man,
it was a little emasculating certain situations. I know that now, but then I didn't know where those feelings was coming from.
Right.
So I reverted back to what I know I do, like to hustle a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, and then at the same time, so it was that, and a dude I grew up with, Hispanic brother, grew up with eating tortillas at his house. We both eating watermelon and chicken. Like, Walter was cool. But when I was away in Youth Authority, he joined the gang too.
Gotcha.
And it was like, your homeboy Walter, you stay next door to you? Yeah, he shooting at the homies. So I went to go approach him with it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he was in his auntie car, and I pushed him over. I pushed him over to the passenger seat, getting it from the grocery store.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna holler at you. It's me, one of my other partners. Attempted to drive off a little bit, a couple of feet, like 2 cars length, and he tucked and rolled out the car. So then we just drove off with the car. So the next morning, he was looking for the car with his auntie because he know where my grandmother stayed. He just know the area because he stayed in the same area. You know what I'm saying? And flagged the police down. They followed us, and everybody broke and ran. I just broken up, but for some stupid reason, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna throw my backpack. Right, because I had all my parole papers and everything from Youth Authority. I'm trying to, I had to go.
Show up and
So I threw that. They didn't even get it. They didn't get the backpack. They said I threw something, but they don't know where it was. Yeah. They called me. I tried to give them a fake name, but then that's when I found out fingerprints is real. So now I went to prison for
how long
kidnap. They tried to give me kidnap carjacking, but they only gave me carjacking.
Oh, they did? Oh, man.
They wanted to give me. I was facing life without. I fought the case in the county.
Yeah.
I fought the case for like 7 months, 7 months in the county. Fought the case. Now I had a dump truck for a lawyer. He went fighting for a deal. I would have took 16 years at that time. So I went all the way through trial looking at never coming back home, but they only found me guilty of just the carjacking. Yeah.
Because she was in the car. They used that.
He was in the car, but they said I moved him through force and fear. Once I got behind him and told him to get in, through force and fear. But
but you knew the dude too.
Yeah, but that's because I knew him. Yeah. They was like they couldn't decipher, how much of a relationship that me and him had.
Right.
That that's what kind of saved me.
So, and really, the carjacking. Whose vehicle was it?
Yeah, it was his aunt's.
His aunt's.
His aunt wasn't even there.
Yeah, but they still put you on there for carjacking.
Yeah.
And how long did you do that?
11 straight years.
11?
Yeah.
No parole on that?
Yeah, I paroled at 30 years old.
Yeah, no, but I mean, you didn't get.
I didn't get out and come early. Back. No.
Yeah.
I got 11 with 85%, which would have been like 9 years and some change. But I was messing up, so I lost all that time. Yeah.
When you were in?
When I was in it.
Yeah.
So.
And where were you at?
I started my time in Delano on A yard. Delano is a reception, but they had a main line there. Oh. So I went to level 3 on A yard. Then I kicked off a ride in the kitchen there after 4 years. And then went to Susanville High Desert. Did my last 7 years there.
How was it up there?
It's crucial. We literally was probably locked down. I can honestly say like 7 to 8 months out of the year.
No way.
Yep.
Just in a cell.
Just in a cell. No program or modified program where we only get like day room or come out to use the phones and shower and go back in. They was always locking, talking about we got a kite that the Crips was gonna do something to the police or to the CO, so we gonna lock y'all down and let everybody else program. It was crazy.
Wow.
But,
so most of the time was just lockdown, not a lot of program. Not a lot of the stuff that enables you to try to transition back into
there was no there was always talk about it, but there was no real rehabilitation. And if there was, how can you rehabilitate somebody to what society is now when you're using stuff that's like 10 or 15 years old?
Yeah. And it doesn't relate.
In vocation. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So.
Most of the time that you were doing there, what were you, like, I mean, gee whiz, you have a bunk or you have a cellmate?
So, yeah. So most of the time, on the 3 yard, I played softball, handball.
Yeah.
I was in vocation. I was taking auto body and fender class. So it was cool. We used to work on a lot of. That was kind of
like lower level, like, for some of the folks that are listening to this, like the levels.
A lower security level. Level 3 is like a lower security level. Level 4.
Like
level 4.
Level 4 is the highest, like, severe
other than being on death row or the SHU program.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's the highest.
And then 3 is pretty chill.
3 is chiller. Level 2 and level 1 is like the chillest.
Yeah. And where were you most of the time?
On the 4 yard. Level 4 maximum.
For what you did? Or you caused some ruckus when you were
I caused some ruckus on level 3. My points went up.
Oh, check. Exactly,
And every time my points were almost finna go down.
Some other stink happens. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And they don't play, do they?
Nah. I've only been to like luckily, the whole time, 7 years, I was on D yard and I was on C yard for a little bit and went back to D yard. I missed the heavier, like, rides and situations
that they had,
like racially. It was only like amongst blacks or amongst cars, or I want to say. So we call cars like areas like Compton, Long Beach,
LA. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? The group that you raised up in, little skirmishes and stuff. So I was getting, and towards the end though, I was getting written up for stupid stuff because I was bored, like making pruno or painting pictures, waxing pictures to the floor, or having contraband.
Exactly. Yep.
Like a TV that I bought off, a floater TV that I bought somebody on the yard instead of having one in my name. I'm like, I paid for it. He went home like, what,
Yeah.
Well, you didn't get it through R&R, so we taking it. So I would get mad and
cause some shit.
I had a radio that I really got mad. This is funny. I was bored, and I said, I'm going to set myself on fire and make them all come down here, right? So I thought it was stunt devil shit. We had been on lockdown, and I'm like, man, I'm finna make them all come out. I had these pajamas that was flame retardant, right?
Okay.
So I said, I'm going to set myself on fire, right? From the tower, all I was doing was, I set on fire a little bit. It's like basically just flame on top, but it never burned through. And I was like, right?
How'd you get yourself on fire, bro? How do you?
With a lighter. We homemade lighters. So I make a wick and then it's burning, right? And all because they took my radio. I wanted it back. They kept saying they're gonna give it back. They didn't want to give it back. The radio, it was a special radio. My homie left it to me, and everybody wanted this kind of radio in the yard, and it was getting scarce. So this radio you can record on. you can actually record. So people would remember back when they put a cassette tape in there and there was like a little tab in the back. If you bust the tab out, it didn't record no more. But if you put some like toilet paper or something, it started record. So we do that, boom, or fix it to where that button, so you can record and send your music out there to the streets. This is how like back then, you know what I'm saying? Like people was making music incarcerated.
No way.
And send it to, and then the engineer would
mix it. Add it. So.
No
way, that's awesome.
I was making money from it. Sending music out there trying to.
Yeah, kind of underground, if you will.
They took my hustle because Mama wouldn't send me no money like that. Grandma was tired of sending me. You know what I'm saying?
So you got nothing on your card.
Nothing on my books.
Your books,
They took that. You know what I'm saying? I just replaced my TV. I went from a color TV to a black and white TV. You know, my ex-lady I was married to looked out for me. You know what I'm saying? Bought me another, but this was she can afford. I needed a TV on my own.
Were you pretty cool with your cellmate?
Most times I would, but what I learned in there, you're not gonna ever get, because that on that level, people got issues. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. A lot of dudes ain't coming home. So my conversation with you was not about seeing the streets or nothing, or nothing. Like the conversation is pretty limited to maybe politics on the TV or something watching, or something happening on the yard, or maybe like tell a story about, but never get too deep about
future wise.
You know what I'm saying? Never get too deep about who you are.
Where you came from, right.
Yeah, because only with people that I actually grew up with from the streets that came in, then I'll be walking the yards. And remember that time we did this, blah, blah, blah. Right. So, mainly it's just, hey, we occupy this space together. I might play chess with you. I might shoot some dominoes or play pinochle with you. Other than that,
we're not tight. Yeah. Did you stay with the same guy the whole time?
No, I didn't stay with. I had multiple cellmates. Most people, like, after a year or two, switch up. You know what I'm saying? Just to keep.
Yeah, everybody's. And is that the kind of the concept of the correctional facility? They do that, or do you request?
You can put in a request.
Yeah, just saying really switch it up.
Switch it up. Yeah. I had one Sally Pup. Pup is home now. He was a lifer. He's up in the Bay Area now. We had met up a couple of months ago, about 5 months ago.
No way.
Yeah.
When was the last time you saw him before that?
Maybe 18 years ago.
No way. How was that? Pretty cool, though?
Oh, yeah. Pup was cool, good? But he was my celly before. I met Pup used to run like the gambling shack on the yard. So we would gamble in everything from horse races to baseball, football, all off the numbers. We'd go on the newspaper, see what the spread is, and we would all bet and stuff. But I moved in with Pup. Pup had, I don't know, I guess he was like a light sleeper, right?
Yeah.
So he wouldn't want you to flush the toilet. So I come from a situation to where, I got a fart, I'm going to sit on the toilet and flush the fart down. You know what I'm saying? Or doing something, I'm going to flush it.
Yeah.
He would want you to pee your shit in the toilet and just put the cover over it, because the flush in the toilet would
wake him up.
But
so I'm wait till the next morning?
Yeah, wait till the next morning. Or so I'm like, man, I don't want you to hear me grunting and shit or wiping. You know what I'm saying? But in my mind, right, he said that. But on the other side of my mind was, well, is this a security thing? Like, he want to see if you over there probably want to be able to hear if you pull out a knife or something to do something to him, or trying to, you know what I'm saying? Like, you want to be able to hear. But at that time, I didn't equate that part. Mm-hmm. But I was like, man, we ain't going to be able to be cellies too long. I want to be able to flush the toilet. You got too many,
issues, Too many, idiosyncrasies, as we call them,
So I didn't.
Quirks.
Yeah.
But he turned out cool.
Yeah.
How was it seeing him again after...
it was cool. Like,
nice.
we parted ways as cellies, but we still dealt with each other on the yard.
Yeah.
But Pup is a stand-up dude now. He's out there working. He works at a restaurant, and he works at a homeless, like not a homeless place, but like a reentry program place. He's like a counselor.
How long was he in for? You said he was in for life.
Pup was a life. Pup did like 26 years.
Oh.
something like that. And
so he's a little bit older than you, or you same age, and he stayed in while you got out?
We probably, you know what? I think we're probably like around the same age, or he might be like a year older than me, but probably around the same age.
He stayed in longer than you got out? He stayed in
because I got out after 11 years. He was still in there the whole 19 years.
More.
I've been home 19 years.
Yeah.
So 19 plus 11, 30 years.
30 years. Gosh, damn.
And he's been home like 3 years.
Nice. He's doing good though. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So when you got out, when did you get out? What year?
December 2005.
2005. And then did you come back? Did you come back up to the Bay Area?
Yeah, because I had so this was me.
Another good story coming.
This is one of those situations where I was trying to keep from going to jail.
Yeah, of course. You've been there 11 years.
I was out like 3 years. Mm-hmm. But when I came home, I had met this lady that was in the church named Missionary Dawn. But she was a recovering addict. Oh. And probably like about 7 months it was about 6 months when I learned about who she really was all the way around. Because I was on the other side of town with her, and they was like, "Man, what you doing with her?" Blah, blah, blah. Right. I'm like, "Man, but too late. I already been in, a full-blown relationship with her, having ups and downs." But at this time too, some of that was having, I had never had an adult relationship with a woman,
right,
so to speak, out on the streets. I went to jail when I was juvenile, 19, come home when I was 30, so I'm trying to learn how to deal with the emotional stuff with that. I mean, I had
even not going to jail, it's crazy, trying to figure out how women work.
Yeah. So, in prison, it's a separate thing because it's more or less like, I don't care what you do with your vagina. I'm not out there. You can do what you want. Even if you're married to someone, you can't put a pigeonhole on them because you're not there.
Yep,
you know
exactly.
What I'm saying? And basically, it's their way or the highway.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I deal with some, some issues with her being an addict and, falling off the wagon, trying to get back. And it was a love-hate thing. And eventually, I had to end up going back to county jail over domestic violence, right?
No way.
But I didn't domestic violence me.
Yeah.
So I guess I got to tell you this story real quick. I don't know how much time.
Yeah, no, we're good, bro.
I'm a Crip, right?
Yeah.
And in Compton, there's this neighborhood called Ludus Park.
Gotcha.
The Bloods, right? Or Pyrus, whatever.
Yep.
But there's this famous hamburger stand right across the street from the apartments they hang out at. And in these apartments, Don's sister stayed in. But they weren't tripping on me because I was going to see family. But they knew that she was crazier than a Bessie bug. So I go get these chili cheese fries. And I'm just going to, at this time, we're not seeing each other, but because I still care about her. Yeah. When she need me, come drop her off or do something, I'll come do it. I go get the chili cheese fries while I'm waiting on her to come. It's a mission to go get this food and not get
recognized.
Harmed.
Yes, recognized.
Right. So, and I want to eat these bags. So I tasted them and I set them on the hood of the dash. And she's like, "You ain't gonna offer me none? We driving off." I'm like, "No." She's like, "You bitch ass, you ain't gonna offer me none?"
Yeah.
I'm like, nah. She took them while we was driving and slung them in my waist, burned my lap up.
No way.
And like my arm, it was hot. So
those were some good chili fries.
It was good enough for her to just dump them out on the ground. Right? Like when you got something and it's like, you don't want that. So I was super mad, right? So
just kick her out of the car.
That's what I was trying to do. So I took her. I'm like, get out of the car. So I took her, and then she swung on me. I took her and like bashed her head into the dashboard, and then she reached back like this and grabbed the keys, pulled them out, and threw them out the window. The car rolled to a stop. So I was mad. Get out.
Yeah.
I went to grab the keys and I drug her out the car. But all it was a ploy though, because she just wanted to get a ride to the house because when she wasn't smoking crack and cigarettes, she would take the opioids. She would get the pills. Right. She was on pills. So from there, now they don't arrest me, but they come to me and interview me and say, "Well, you guys got to get a restraining order on each other, right?"
Yeah.
So I do that. So about a month later, because we did have a place together, but I didn't live there.
Yeah.
I ain't no let her take that here. For you and your kids, get your kids back, do whatever. I'm cool. I violate the restraining order, even though it's my apartment where I live at. I'm paying her rent.
Yeah.
Right. They say I initiated contact with her. She called me over. They see that she called me over, texting me, telling me to come over. She get mad. Then we used to have these phones, the Nextel phones at church.
Yeah.
So I'm asleep. I'm sitting on the floor in the hallway. She's in the room right there. I'm in the hallway. I'm scared to go. The door's open.
Yeah.
That's how much.
Trying to keep your distance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to go back in.
And I fall asleep. My phone chirped. And she get up and grab the phone. All I hear say, "Who the fuck is this? Do you know this fat motherfucker over here asleep? And why the fuck you call him?" You know, I snatched the phone from her. She grabbed one and it says flip. So she got one end and and I snapped it from her hand like that. I knew I had to part with the SIM card, so I wasn't tripping. Right? So I take the SIM card out and put it in my pocket. I'm like, "What you tripping on? It's not even what you tripping on? I don't even live here. Like, I'm coming to talk to you. Like, you know." So it's in the morning time and some Hispanic. I hear a lot of static in the so there was some guys working on the car. They had a 2x4 up on the hood. She snatched the 2x4 off and started swinging it at me. And I'm trying to get to my car. They said they called the police on her. They come, they arrest me for initiating contact with her. I did 90 days in the domestic violence program.
That was just counting.
I was there for like 4 months. I was there for like 100 days because I went to court. And I know she ain't gonna come up to court, but I just took the deal right there. Like, look, if you do the domestic violence program, I think it was called a merit program or something like that, then you can come on. I'm like,
and you did that in-house?
Yeah, I did.
At the county?
I did it there. I came on for 2 months. And the employer I was working with before said, you know, they knew my father was from the Bay Area, Richmond. Excuse me. We opened up a new division. Ancon's opened up a new office in Benicia. We want you to go up there and help the guys run it. You'll be the first employee, so you'll be able to move up faster, even though it didn't happen like they tricked me, but
it sounded good at the time.
It sounded good because that would have been from nothing to something.
Right.
Within, they say 6 months, 90 days to 6 months is what they told me. So I did that. I left, and that's where I met my current wife. It was
in Benicia.
In Richmond. I was living in Richmond, but the office in Benicia. But I was living up there. Seen her coming out the store, and we started talking.
And so you guys been together how long now?
15 years.
15 years.
Yeah.
Man.
Being a wife now, we've been together. This let me get this right. This June.
You better get it right.
We've been married 15 years.
She listens to this at some point. How many?
15 years.
15 years. This June. June what?
June. Now you're trying to get me in trouble. June 6th.
Okay, June 6th. I think we got that one. Hopefully his wife will concur.
I'll cut it right. Don't worry.
Yeah, he'll cut it right.
She'll leave a comment like she gets her page slashed all the time from Instagram or TikTok. They always
make a comment,
taking her page down, putting her in jail.
Comment. Yeah. So when you get out, you did the domestic violence thing. You kind of leave that trauma, if you will. You came back up here. What was the first job again?
My first job when I came, let me back it up from there.
Yeah.
This is what made me do the straight and narrow.
Yeah.
There's a Dr. Exum on the yard who used to work in the psychiatrist chief.
Gotcha.
And that's where I used to get my wax from and stuff I used to do the cell.
Yeah.
I would never try to initiate conversation with him or the other secretaries, other people around, just come in and do my job.
Yeah.
Cut, right? So he asked me one day to see me clean up, but nobody else was in the office. He said, "Man, I noticed that you just come and do your job and leave. You don't ever ask for nothing, trying to manipulate us, nothing." Because I didn't care, man. I had like 2 years to the house. I wasn't tripping on none of that. So I don't even want dudes on the yard talking about, "Man, we seen you talking to such and such,"
right.
Or what is they bringing you? Like, you think I got the hookup or something, trying to, like, nah, I don't deal with none of them. So he say whatever we was talking about, kind of like he was basically getting into my head without saying he's psychoanalyzing me. So he said, but whatever you was doing when you get out, if you do the exact opposite, you will make it.
You will make it.
You will make it. He said, you've been in here long enough. and the recidivism rate is lower for people that do more time. He said if you was on the east side of town,
right,
be on the west. If you was going to this store over here, go to the side. Do everything exact opposite. And you will make that includes friends, family, whatever. And so
that's a good point. That's a really good point.
And so it happened that my mother was living on the north side of Long Beach when I came on. So that made it, easier. And then I got me together first, basically, without the extending the hand, hey, I'm out and doing this. Or,
right.
You know what I'm saying? I got.
What were you doing for work-wise? Like, so if you're trying to stay on that north side, right? The south side was bad when you were in. The north side, where you want to go to, the opposite with the psychiatry guys.
It was the stigmatism and in the environment that I was staying away from.
Check.
Not the point of wanting to be engaged in it.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? So, but my first job was at a warehouse, humping boxes, unloading them. I didn't like it. Second job was at a pill factory. Standing while the bottles going around.
Spinning around, yep.
And it's like a white noise almost, the machines, and you're all in the gowns and stuff. Yep. So then I was able to get a job at the hospital doing stripping and waxing floors.
Oh, gotcha.
I lasted there for like 4 months. But I fell asleep.
On the job?
On driving the floor sweeper.
Yeah.
This is the sweeper that's also a mopper, too. So it's pretty big. And in front of the elevators, the fancy hospital, in front of the elevators, there's mirrors. I hit it, boom, and woke up. It started as a little crack. I didn't even notice it.
Yeah.
About time. Morning came, it spider webbed all the way up. So they seen on camera and said, Mr. Cooper comes in and said, you broke this, you didn't report it. I said, I didn't even know.
I hit it.
He's like, looked like you fell asleep while you was driving, but you messed up the property, so we'll
let you go.
We might have to let you go. So security didn't do it. They just showed me on camera, so it was
your fault.
The manager said they had to let me go.
Man, I would have been one of those guys as the owner or whatever, the administrator. Listen, that thing costs about $300. We're going to take $10 out of your check. You could keep your job.
More than that.
Oh no, I'm sure.
But see, I probably could have fought it, but then I didn't know I had sleep apnea, and plus I could still fight it to this day, but I had used to also moonlight doing security at the clubs, so that was like from maybe 2 or 3 nights a week. So I was
not getting a lot of sleep.
I was burning the candle at both ends. Even while I wasn't doing nothing, I just had to see everything was going on, smell the roses, the flowers, see the sunset. Sometimes I would sit on the bench and just people watch. You know what I'm saying? Like I had missed the odor of car engines and smoke and smog.
Or the ocean, whatever. Yeah, because you're in there.
That was too silent. I need to hear noise.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I need to smell different scents. I needed to hear language. I needed to, all you hear is just us talking and the doors clanking and opening.
Yeah.
So, the sensory deprivation is what I was going through when I was
in prison. Yeah. So after you've left the hospital setting, where'd you?
I ended up, man, what kind of job?
Because this is before you met your current wife.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
But I was doing something else, but it was through a temp agency. Mm-hmm. It was like construction. Mm-hmm. We go in there and like after they done tore down like drywall and stuff.
Demo to remodel, like remodeling and stuff like that.
And all I did was sweep and just pick it up, put it in wheelbarrows. And I did that for about 2 weeks. And then there was a meeting. Brendanson had a meeting. Brendanson's Construction had a meeting at the parole office. The parole officer said, he brought the flyer to me and said, you should go up here and check out what they got to offer. They hiring parolees. This is before the TWIC card thing.
Yeah.
So I went up there and they was hiring, and I got on and I started doing safety. Hull watching and fire watching in refineries. And I've been in this line of business for 17 years now.
Yeah, because now you're doing.
Now I'm a CDL driver / supervisor /
right. You're jack of all trades now, right?
Yeah.
Because now you're union.
No, I'm not union.
Not union.
I wanted to be union, but in California, certain companies like this, like the environmental aren't union. They cut a deal with the plants that they didn't have to go union. But the other guys that's working in the union, that's working in the plants, that's doing the construction, welders and all that, they're union. Right. They're union. They getting paid the bigger bucks. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So.
But this company has you traveling now, right?
They did have traveling different. I was on a traveling crew, but the branch I was working for was out of Texas, Deer Park. Now they opened up. Well, they had since Clean Harbors bought out HPC. Before it was Hydrochem. Bought out Hydrochem. They formed HPC, powered by Clean Harbors.
Yeah.
Clean Harbors had an office there of their sort of like traveling group.
Oh,
but they only did like when they be having to go down into the ocean shore, like homeless encampment cleanups, beach cleanups, natural disasters, stuff like that. So I was moved to this lady out of the Carson office, like middle of last year, something like that. But
so you have like as a supervisor, you got people kind of underneath you now.
Yeah, but that was the deal. I didn't have the title. They wouldn't give me the title, and it was like, well, you're an equipment operator and you're a senior guy.
Yeah.
And you know what the job takes and responsibility. So we count on you to help make sure the job go right and make sure the guys are out there doing the right thing so we all come out shining. Right. No, none of us don't get that. The accolades don't trickle down. Shit don't roll down here the way it's supposed to.
Yeah.
So, and I understand there's only room, I guess, for somebody on an organization board to be named to. But it didn't trickle down to money.
Yeah.
And it didn't trickle down to the title.
Gotcha.
So one of those have to give.
Yeah.
But when both of them ain't given, then it's a problem. Yeah. But then it's like, okay, if you're there, which I not only do I understand, I also push that narrative that if you're a senior person there on the job, or you have, if you have seniority in the business, or you have seniority in the position, so to speak, like you've been driving more than this person, or if you've been operating equipment longer than this dude, or you've been with the company longer, you know what I'm saying? Like you should want everything to be cohesive so we can all get home safe.
Yeah.
Because it's a dangerous job.
Do they have, is there availability for you in the near future to get to another level, like with where you're at?
Basically, the thing is you have to leave, basically, and get hired back on and come back. You have to, they will hire people making more money than you at the same position. So he will be making more money than I'm making. But 2 years ago when I came on, they hired me at this.
Right.
Then they give me a pay raise. Oh, we ain't doing pay raise, but they hiring people at the pay rate for this day and age. Right. So you have to quit, or you have to apply for something different. Come on, something making more money.
Onto the team with a different position. Yeah. Like so as time goes on, you've been out since 2005. Do you look back and I'm not going to use the word reminisce because it wasn't exactly a great time, but do you think to yourself, man, I'm like so blessed that, that psychologist kind of in a way, that's a good little tipping point because he gave you that idea. And I'm going to remember it for the rest of my life in that concept because we can mold it into something different. But, that expression, fake left, go right, when you talk about sports and football, fake left, go right. This guy basically told you that analogy. He's like, listen, you've had a couple times when you have the little bit of problems with the law, but you're always going on the south side.
Right.
And he says, when you get out of this, go on the north side. Go to the opposite. You know what I mean?
We all have that point in time where, like, say, for instance, like, I remember it now when my mom used to say, stay at home tonight, don't go out. You go out, I get in trouble.
Yeah.
She said, stay at your butt in the house. I told you to stay in the house. So then we learned to use, like, other senses, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Or the deja vu point, you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So now what I do is I use exactly that. if I remember somebody, like that saying, used to be over here, don't go. I just don't go over there.
Yeah.
Because it's something telling me, or for you to have, there's the saying in the Bible, right? Be aware of entertaining angels, right? And so for them to have said that, or at that moment in time, it was a reason, right? And I don't know how to exactly put it, but there in moments in time where that person probably never remembered that they told you that, you know what I'm saying? But they told you that at that point. It was a reason that I had needed to hear that.
Yeah. Oh, no, I think, personally, just when we're going through your story and things like that, that the pivotal part for me from listening to your story and, as people listen to this, it's like I can just imagine this, psychologist, psychiatrist, whatever the guy is, and just happenstance. Right. It really wasn't. You were minding your own business. There's not a lot of people. There's not a lot of commotion going on. You're just doing your own thing. And the guy goes and I could just see it, just a comment go, yo, man, whatever you did, do the opposite.
Right, and it was just in that sense, like if everything is like cloudy around you, and y'all two in the middle of a hallway, and I got the mop in my hand, and he's stopping, he's talking to me for no apparent reason at all. We hadn't had no when I really say for no apparent reason, because there was a lady that I did like to talk to. Mm-hmm. I'll smile at her, might say, get my lightweight flirt on, but I never, went past that.
No, of course.
But for him to be, sitting there having, because he been paying attention to me, or he felt the need to tell me that, but the whole thing is like this. This is what because I felt this. I didn't really have a desire. I didn't have a desire to. Well, these three things is why I don't have no desire. The first thing is living in there, and then I equated to being in the closet, slipping a letter under the door, hoping that somebody slide one back. Yeah, because you don't see people on the side. Yeah. And for a lot of times, it didn't happen like that.
Right.
Because I went to prison so young. All these friends, especially female friends, they grew older. They had kids by friends and other people. They started a life. The life I was supposed to be starting, and
at 19.
I missed that.
Yeah, exactly.
The second thing is I disliked myself a lot for what I had missed. And when I came home, let me see. I didn't dislike myself like I hate myself.
Yeah, no. You're kind of disappointed.
I'm disappointed, and I disappointed in what I was disappointed in the decisions because there is like expirations on certain friendships.
Oh, of course.
So, knowing that, and everybody I've seen a lot of times under pressure or life things happen that people you thought that was your raw dogs or friends aren't there anymore.
Yep.
And then I didn't understand because you're supposed to be the homie, or you supposed to be. I put a lot on that, and I shouldn't have.
Right, because when you get out 11 years later, they've naturally gone on.
Yeah, but even in there, because it's like majority rules. So if they want to do something to you, or oust you, or try to manipulate you out of something, it's like you can't beat up everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and then the last thing is that I learned to care about, like, okay, if I didn't care about nothing before, why is that? And then basically, I had something to care about. I learned to care about, there's more responsibility and other things I have to take care of and be a part of.
Right.
To be a part of the society that's working.
Yeah, and it's funny because the society that's working, I'm going to still go back to that doc, the society that's working is on that proverbial north side. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you're part of that now. That south side, if you want to put it that way, where a lot of the stuff you just kind of get into some trouble. You walk out the door and basically a lot of times I'll tell patients and I'll tell people in the audience too, is like, what happens in life, we go down a road. Now there's some rocky roads that we have. You know what I mean? You turn a little, you go off the road a little bit, go off the road here, but you're still going straight ahead. But at certain points in your life, there's a fork.
Right.
Okay. In the fork in the road, there's no U-turn. you're either going to make a right or you're going to make a left.
Right.
Right? And when you make that left, so say, for example, that left, in the past for you, it was the south side.
Right.
Right? So then you got to go on with that. So when now you're going straight on this path that's still on the south side, shit hits the fan, you do some time and etc. But then when you're getting out, guess what? There's another fork in the road.
Right.
You're not going backwards because you had to experience that because you couldn't make the left because that's the past. But now you're under another fork in the road. And then, Mr. Cooper now is getting out. And he said, okay, and he's in the back of his head, he's thinking about the doctor and whatever. He goes, okay, north side, south side. Here's my fork in the road. Fork in the road goes south again. Do I get involved with these folks again? And go right back to the, it's like, it's rinse and repeat. We don't want that. You took the left path. And now look at like, what did he say, 15 years? 15 out? You've been out?
I've been out 19
almost,
years.
19, almost 20 years.
Right.
Now, there's other forks in your road. A lot of it's business. A lot of it's, relationships. Now you got a wife, the right, left, north or south on the good side with a good woman, or left side, north side, which is where you're at. You've been with your wife for many years now and things like that. So we're always taking forks in the road. People have to realize once you take that path, there's no going back. You got to find the straight and narrow and find another path in order to get better.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's kind of cool, with chatting with you. And I like the way we kind of put it all together today with, it's almost that north-south side, that concept, because that's what you learned inside. You know what I mean? That just one moment in my mind, it's like 11 years and what there's many, many small little things. But in order for you to walk out the gate and this guy in the back of your head goes, hey man, whatever you did, do the opposite. That's freaking amazing.
There's another saying that my homeboy Slowpoke used to tell me. He used to say, association bring affiliation. So
that's good.
If you socialize with the with whatever, he brings affiliate. And then there's one thing, so I was really good at baseball, right? Mm-hmm. Really good. And well, not as good as my cousins, but we was in the newspaper like a lot when we was younger. And so I was in there. I played like a lot of softball. I wanted to get back into playing baseball. Yeah. So I said halfway in, I wrote I forgot, he was under Art Howe for the A's, right? But I remember the dude who used to do the parade, walking around at the Coliseum.
Yeah.
When they used to let the little leagues walk around. So, and so I got a letter back from actually from him and Art Howe, right? Mm-hmm. I got a told me, hey, how you doing? We remember you. Sorry about what happened to you. Hope you turn this life around. Blah blah blah. But they gave me a list of all the farm systems from A to minor league to A, AAA, and they managers and all that, right? So a couple of years later, I wrote a couple of teams that I wanted to try out for. So I actually did, right? So I got the schedule, and when I came home, I tried out for Dodgers at Compton College. So this one I knew I was old, right?
Yeah.
So I got out there. I didn't do so. I got past the first round.
Nice.
Didn't do good in the second round. I tried out for catcher. I couldn't catch them boys' balls. They was throwing hard. Yeah. They was throwing, I was like, pow, hitting the ground. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, this is a lot faster than I used to be.
Yeah.
That you remember.
And it's not like a softball, catching it. So you're like, let me go ahead and go to second base, And but when I was back there playing catcher, they wanted to throw the ball. I threw like two in the dirt and one over the shortstop head, throwing from catcher to second. Then I went on to try for second. I stopped the ball, a couple more than times. I did good with the grounders and the shots, but just the functionality from throwing the ball to it was
different because you had the time off.
Yeah, the timing was all bad.
Yeah, but you know what the funny part about that is? And I tell you, it's really interesting because in life we have stories, right? And this is one of the reasons I like doing the podcast. I love to hear people's stories. We're put on this earth, right? And this is the analogy they use. All we are is a bunch of bricks. We're born and we got a bunch of bricks. In order to build something in our life, we need mortar, right? You put the mortar, put the mud on there. The mud and the mortar, that's our conversations. That's the people we meet. That's the experiences we have, right? So little by little, as our life we're building on, that brick and mortar. We're putting a brick on, we meet somebody, there's some mortar. We put some brick on. Ooh, maybe sometimes something will happen to, I huff and puff and blow the house down like the Three Little Pigs, and, your bricks and mortar kind of crumble. But then you build it back up again, right? So always building and things are breaking down depending on the things in our life. And, which is kind of cool in your life is that you have these stories to tell. I mean, like, who can say that, like, after a couple of years in prison, they would try it out for the freaking Detroit Tigers.
I wanted to do something.
Yeah,
it was all part of me wanting to do something different and help. And,
North side, bro. North side, not the south side.
And be a builder of the community instead of tearing down. And that's the whole. I don't even get me and a person that's still on a destructive path. From even back then, like from when I came on to now, still can't even be in the same. Like you could be right there. So you start talking crazy, or I see what your mindset is.
Yeah,
you don't have the warrior mindset. You don't see what your mindset is. I'm turning around and walking somewhere different.
Yes,
like I'm talking to somebody about buying an acre of land and putting 2 or 3 tiny homes on it. I'm talking to somebody about how like putting, they don't understand the concept of the way we live. Like you basically got to put into the system to get back out.
Yes.
So when you're a kid or a baby, the state take care of the government. When you're elderly, they take care of you. But in the middle, you got to work and you got to pay your taxes. You put it back into the system. They don't understand why I don't pay taxes. Why I'm doing this. Why because basically you paying for the kids they helping you take care of,
and then the elderly,
elderly, and you put it back into so you can get their money back when you retire. It's still yours, but it's a system and collect so the society can run. This is our way of how we take care of each other.
Well, and also too is like that mindset that you have, and that's a good concept with our warrior mindset. You have the mindset of like, hey man, I know what it's like to kind of be a taker. Like, and it's a me, it takes some fast cars. We're going to do this. We're going to, kind of abuse the system, if you will, when you're younger, right? Then you do the time and you have time to think about it. You meet this guy in prison. This doctor, gives you this idea of, hey, north side, south side, which I'm going to continue to use my whole life now. But then what happens is the switch turned. You get out, you make that in left, instead of making a right going down south, you make it right, and you go, oh my God, this is the way society's supposed to be. Okay, I'm a grown up now, 30 years old. I get out and I got to put my big boy panties on.
Be a man about it.
Right.
Dr. Exum was his name, Dr. Exum.
Yeah, so that guy, infamy now, name it'll be on our videos forever. But, that's really, really good. I know we've been, I could talk to you for freaking hours, bro, on all this type of stuff. But one thing I want to ask you, as we kind of continue to, finish up and close this up is, if you had to talk to yourself at 18 years old, right? We'll say 19 you went in. If you had to tell yourself at 18 years old, what would you tell yourself today after the things you've experienced? Because how old now? 40, 50? How old are you now?
I'm 48.
48. Perfect. 30 years ago, right? 18 years old, right? And you've been out for a while too. With the experiences you had, like say in prison, what would you tell yourself at 18, knowing that at 19 you're going to go in? What would you tell yourself? Conversation, you'd sit down with yourself.
I know I said something different, but I don't remember exactly how I worded it. But one of the things I probably tell myself that I experienced that I probably didn't like was that I allow my circumstances to dictate how I should act.
Check.
Right?
Gotcha.
Then I would not let, I guess, so certain circumstances like emasculate. The reason why I use that term emasculation, right? Because it doesn't matter if it's a female or a male, but we tend to do things that we think makes us a man.
Yes. Or
makes us a wimp or a bitch.
Right. So, and the idea behind it is you're trying to do all these, you're a young guy, you're trying to do all these studly things. It's like, I want to be the man. But if you do something less than that, you're going to feel in your mind emasculated, right? I'm not doing the dude enough stuff. I got to do some bigger, badder, faster things. Exactly. And if I'm not looked upon like that by my boys, right, I'm going to feel in my mind. They're not going to tell you that, but in your mind, you feel the term that you're using would be emasculated.
Right.
if you at that 18 years old, you're listening to yourself at 48, you're like, bro, man, don't listen to what people think. Just do you. You know what I mean? That's really good. So also too is like, and we talked about this, just before we got started on this podcast. If you had to talk to somebody, present, past, living or dead, who'd you like to have one more conversation with? And what would it be? Like a question, a comment, a thank you, an F you? Like who? If somebody,
I said earlier it would probably be my grandfather because I would ask him about. I would tell him that it probably hurted me a little bit about the bike.
Yeah.
But I understand him, the mindset about being mature of the things that you have and take care of the things that people, give you. Like that was the best lesson. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I say that because people sometimes look at the things that I've accumulated. But I can say that 60%, 40% of it's brand new, and the other it's our bargain hunt, and I get things that like it's been lightly used. I still take care of it.
Yeah.
So when one person says I want to go get a new car, I'm gonna go get a car, a motorcycle, and a boat because those are all the things I want, and it doesn't have to be brand new.
Yes, exactly.
It just has to be the way I like it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And it always. Say, for instance, I got what they might call a bucket or a car that's not as new as theirs. But my car, I got beaten. I got 3 12-inch speakers in the back and a nice stereo, and I'm happy I'm beaten.
Yeah.
With you, I know my car going to pass smog and it's good. My parts for my car is not going to cost as much parts for your car.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm happy. You know what I'm saying? And then I got to go. I got to go take mine directly to the Nissan dealership because the parts for this cost this much when I can go get a Ford piece anywhere.
Yep.
So
it's a good concept to think about in like the mindset that you have because, it's that old expression, keeping up with the Joneses. You know what I mean? And I think our society nowadays, especially the young generation, is of the fact is, I want the Jordan, I want the Dunks, I want the Louis Vuitton, I want the hair, I want the nails and things like that, which sometimes if you're just happy with some of the things that you do in your life, in my opinion, how do I explain this? In my opinion, I think you don't leave with anything on this earth, right? But I think you leave this earth with relationships. I think you leave this earth with things that you've accomplished. I think you leave this earth with the way you've built who you are in this earth. I don't think it's necessarily an item. I think it's a relationships. You know what I mean? So if our generation would learn that it's like, man, like right now, we're having a podcast, we're just talking away. I don't even care how this goes on, it's social media, whatever, but I'm getting to know more about you. And I think if this podcast can bring anything, it's like to sit down with somebody, man, and just hear the freaking stories, man. It's freaking awesome. I think
people need to learn how to be content. Content is the word I was looking for until they can reach the next level and the next goal.
Yeah. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, hey, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Man, Mr. Cooper, it's been a freaking pleasure, man. I love learning more about people, that warrior mindset. This guy's been wearing it since the kid was a young buck, 10 years old. He said, listen, I'm not happy with my life at 10. I'm going to run away for a while, and he already had, big ideas. And hey, listen, sometimes we had some peaks and valleys in this story today, which is awesome. But, I want to compliment you on the successes and the things that, you learn when you're in for 11 years and how successful. And, we're not going into all the details on his success, but the guy's, doing great right now. A pillar of community. He's got a great wife, and things like that, make those decisions, to do the right thing. And also too is sit down with people more and communicate like we're doing today in this type of podcast.
That's a whole other conversation. I like that because people, when you say do the right thing, right? Yeah. I don't mean to cut you off, right? It's hard to two things. Hard to tell a youngster or person to do the right things. The first thing gonna say, well, you ain't doing it, right?
Right.
Or what you ain't did.
Right.
The second thing is when you telling somebody they should do the right thing, if they do get hostile, more times than not, it's somebody's kid, son, nephews, cousins, or somebody that you're trying to relate this to, and that hostility can bring back to the actual person that I got love for.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To try to explain to the younger, you know what I'm saying, something. Right. So most times people just keep it bottled up because this person not ready to accept
it, right?
You know what I'm saying?
You know, I think if we as a society would not be, I think because our society is so sensitive.
So mind your own business.
Yeah, mind your own business. 1, 2 is you're so sensitive, and you don't want to bring something up to possibly make them a better person. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh my God, you know, everybody's so sensitive. I mean, you know, back in the day, man, you know, my parents would tell me the way it is. If you don't like it, hey, too bad. Now the kids are, you know, what is it? They call child protection services on their own parents. I'm like, what? I want to get my ass handed to me.
I call them sensitive thugs. And then at the same time, these parents be like, don't talk to my child that way. That's my child. Ain't your son. Or,
right.
You know, well, on the female side, you know.
Yeah.
So it's a whole different. It's about, man, femininity and masculinity, a whole different topic and conversation
we could be here
about.
for another hour.
Yeah.
But hey, listen, we have to thank everybody. We'd be talking here forever. But Mr. Cooper, we love having you on the show. Hey, listen, we'll have to bring you back at some point. We'll just go through some more conversations. Gee whiz, if we get his insight on how society is. Man, probably have a huge discussion.
I do think that this platform could be huge because sometimes when, you know, the topics or the conversation, people can be in the back here like, you know, I agree or disagree, but it's dialogue. The point is to create a dialogue. There's positivity on both sides, even with disagreements, because if you disagree, you have to have an answer to how you would do it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Communication. But until next time, this is Dr. Joe Martin from the Warrior Mindset Podcast. Look forward to seeing you soon.